For today, we are doing similar things as last week because we are also covering oral communication today. Okay, so in this case, in terms of oral, I think last week I've already explained that the exam format is different now, that they have removed the part on reading aloud. Okay, for those of you who has just joined us today, I think we have some new students. Basically, the component reading aloud has been removed from O levels. You know, in PSLE English, you do have a section to read a passage, right? You have to read it aloud. So it used to be in O levels oral exam as well. But I guess the Singapore Examinations Board actually realized that maybe at the age of 16 and 17, maybe you should already know how to read a passage properly. So they decided to remove the component. Okay, so what's going to be tested for your oral? Basically, there are two portions. The first part will be that you have to plan a response. You have to plan a response to a prompt given to you, okay, based on the video that you watch. Yeah, so that's the first portion. The second portion would then be basically the stimulus-based conversation. You're going to have a conversation with the examiner and you're going to discuss the topic. Okay, so that's basically what. But for today, actually, for oral, we are focusing more on pronunciation and enunciation. So you might be wondering, why are we learning about pronunciation when the format has changed? It's going to be more on like responses, you know, instead of reading aloud. For one simple reason, because if you were to have a conversation with your examiner, you also need to make sure that you pronounce the words properly. Okay, and you are speaking in a way whereby it's easily it's easy for the examiner to understand as well. Okay, so it's really still important. I would say that the relevance is still there. You need to be able to pronounce certain words correctly, to enunciate certain words correctly, and then you need to know where to stress as well, right? Okay, so let's move on. Let's quickly go on to that. Okay, certain rules. I think we have new students, so maybe we might want to just talk about some house rules. Firstly, please turn on your video. Okay, I know Nadia is doing a great job. Galvin as well. I think they are the usual ones to turn on video. Thank you, Jin-Lei. Jin-Lei has turned on his video as well. Okay, for the rest of you, please turn on your video. That's number one. Number two, I think all of you have done it already, which is to mute yourselves. Okay, for one simple reason, because if let's say you were to unmute, everybody were to unmute, then there's going to be a lot of background sounds, which can be disruptive. Yeah. Okay. Why is Nadia smiling over there? No? Okay. Yeah, so for Li Rui and Eldia, it'll be good if you can turn on your video as well, yeah? Okay, rule number 2, mute yourself. Rule number 3, if you have a question, please type in the chat. I think someone typed in the chat. Let me see. I don't have one yet. I see you don't have a camera, is it, Li Rui? Oh, okay. Yeah, right. So probably maybe in the upcoming lessons, try to get yourself a device with a video so you can turn on the video, okay? Thanks, Eldia. Okay, great. Now, first part, pronunciation. Now, when we talk about pronunciation, okay, we can start from the most basic, which is the sound of a letter. Okay, sometimes it might not be a letter. Sometimes it might be a few letters that make the sound. Okay, so we are really going down to the smallest unit, which is the sound of the English words and all. Okay, so when we talk about sounds, there are two types. Number one is a consonant sound. Another one is a vowel sound. Okay, so when it is a consonant sound, it is actually, for example, I think the example on the right-hand side, number 3, right? Number 3 and the plant, which is a tree. So if you notice, the consonant sound is different. One is just t and one is the. So 3, right? And then you have tree as well. Okay, so consonant sounds. So one example would be a few examples in fact. Okay, we have like the sound B. When we talk about phonetic symbols, they are always placed in between two slashes. Okay, of course, the letter B has the B sound. So when you read these words, the sound can come at the front of the word. For example, big. Okay, it can be in the middle as well. So it can be like cabbage. Okay, if you listen closely, you can listen to the B sound. And then lastly will be your tub. Okay, ice cream tub. But a lot of times students still pronounce it as tap tap. Okay, so you need to be very mindful of that. Yeah. Okay, now the second phonetic symbol will be P, which is P. It's the P sound. So you can start at the beginning of a word, which is par, or the middle, which is like report, or the end, which is tap. Okay, so if you listen closely, there's the P sound at tap. But some students still pronounce as tap, 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 right? Okay, next example, T, which is T. So toy, rectal, and bat. Okay, bat. And then we have our duck, which is D, the sound, duck, ridden, mend. Okay, and the last phonetic symbol K, sometimes when it comes to a word, it's not spelled as K. Like for example, cat is spelled with C. Okay, so cat, token, and panic. Okay, so it has the K sound, right? Okay, now let's move on to vowels now. So in terms of vowels, there are two kinds. So we have under plural. Consonant sounds and vowel sounds, right? Different types of sounds. And under vowel, there's actually your long and your short vowel. Okay, so for example, sheep. So baba sheep, right? So this is a sheep. And then of course, on the right-hand side is a ship. Okay, so the E sound in ship and the E sound in sheep is different. Although they both, the phonetic symbols are the same, but the sound is different. Okay, but still a lot of students make the mistake. Sheep and sheep are the same. Okay, it should be sheep and ship, right? Okay, so let's take a look at some examples of short vowels. Like I say, you can classify vowels into long and short. Okay, so we're going to look at some short vowels first. The phonetic symbol A is actually sound. So t and cat. Okay, so if you listen closely, you can listen to the S sound, right? Then, of course, we have your letter E, which is the S sound. So elephant and bed. Okay, so bed has the S sound in it, but a lot of students still pronounce it as bed, 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 bed. Then it becomes A sound, like bed. So A, bed. But it's actually bed. Okay, the bed, on the bed. Okay. The third sound, which is E. Okay, letter I is actually sounds like E. So in and sit, E sound. Okay, then letter O is your oct sound, which is seen in octopus and cod, oct sound. Then U is us and duck, ah sound. Okay, so they're very short actually, just eh, okay, and E and O and U. So very short. Yeah. Okay, now let's move on to the next one, which is your long vowels. Oh, wait, sorry. Yeah. Okay, I think this one there's a typo error. Let me just edit it. Oopsie. Hold on a second. Where is it? Okay. Instead of long vowels, I think there's a typo here. This is actually, and this one, instead of short, it should be long vowels. And then over here, I think this one has to be here. This one. Okay, now in terms of long vowels, okay, we have your, the short vowel is actually eh, right? Cat, bat, all this. But when it's a long vowel, if you notice, the phonetic symbol is still the same, but the sound is different. Like ah, instead of eh, it's ah, and there's a drag. Okay, you realize there's a drag. So it becomes arcade, far, and spa, right? So it's dragged. In terms of E, instead of elephant, it becomes early, right? Early, bird, and purr, right? So you notice that there's a drag in the sound. And then of course we have your I. I used to be, I mean, if it's a short vowel, it's actually just E, right? The previous one, if we were to refer to the previous page, it's basically in, sit, right? In and sit. So in this case, it becomes drag. So it becomes easy, feet, and thirsty, right? Thirsty. Okay. So that's the drag of the E sound. And then we have O. O, short vowel. O is octopus. When it's long, it becomes oo. So ooze, moon, and flew. So far, so good in terms of long and short vowels. And then we've covered some consonants, right? Okay. Now, apart from the classification which I've shown just now, basically we have like sounds. Then, of course, you have your vowel sounds, you have your consonant sounds. And also vowels, you can classify them further into long and short vowels. And then you have a consonant. Actually, consonants, you can classify them into voice and voiceless. Okay, so what do we mean by voiced and voiceless consonant sounds? If you look at these examples, feel starts with letter F. Okay, you can just try it. If you want to pronounce the letter F, okay, which is, you can put your hand on your throat here, on your neck area here, and then you can try to pronounce. You notice that you don't feel any vibrations here. Okay, and the reason for that is because your voice box is not opened. You're not really using your voice box, so there isn't a vibration here. Okay, so you can try try to enunciate the word, the sound. Then on the other hand, if you try letter V, you realize that if you say okay, you will feel a vibration on your neck. Okay, so you can try to put your hand, your palm on your neck, and then you can feel. Okay, so the one that does not have vibration is actually considered a voiceless sound. The one with a vibration is actually a voice sound. So one is F and one is V. Okay. Okay, your fingers should not feel any vibration, right? When you say F, right? So because F is a voiceless sound, so you might want to try other voiceless sounds, consonant sounds, like for example, P. If you to say pa, 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 okay, there's no vibration as well. If it is T, like t, 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 there's also no vibration. S, which is S, also has no vibration, and as well as K. Okay, k, k, right? So difference. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, same thing. You want to place 2 fingers over your throat. You can try the following exercise. Okay, fault and vault, fairy and very, right? And then we have your safe and save. Okay, so that's the difference between F and V, right? Then after that, we'll move on to S and Z. S and Z is like Sue and zoo. Okay, lacy and lazy, bus and buzz. Okay, and then the other one will be your kite and the K and G, which is like kite and guide, ankle and angle, right? And then the last one, I think this is a typo as well. I think this is with an O instead of A, because we want to compare the